Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one rated sportsbook app out there. Be sure to use code DNVR when you head on over there and sign up for an account. I am your host, Rudo, joined as always by AJ Haefele. No hockey today for the Colorado Avalanche, unfortunately.
Doing a show at 1 p.m. for a reason.
Yep. The Avs game officially postponed in a situation that we will get into, mostly focused on the Minnesota Wild putting 6 players onto the COVID list in the NHL. And that, alongside Tyson Jost, also getting put onto the COVID list for the Avalanche specifically. But there's a conversation surrounding this whole topic and the COVID list in general, as it is ballooning right now in the NHL, about the situation. Because with Colorado and Minnesota in particular, Foligno was put on the COVID list after the first game between Colorado and Minnesota. They played the second game. There was talk of players testing positive. Presumably that was Foligno. And then they traveled to Colorado. They played that game, and now we're getting all of these test results. So from that standpoint, it's not great, Bob.
It's not great, Bob should have been the title of the show.
True. Look, the COVID situation right now for the Avs, if it remains like this and Tyson Jost is the only one who ends up going on the COVID protocol list, they kind of dodged a bullet here. But
kind of yes and kind of no. I mean, it's just one more at this point. If they lose Tyson Jost and they play Saturday in St. Louis, it's just one more injury.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially a good way to look at it, is the fact that it's one more injury. And I've seen a lot of confusion about this. To be clear, it's the Minnesota schedule that has been postponed through the 11th, or is it the 9th?
The 9th.
Colorado, only their game against Minnesota is postponed. So they will play as normal this weekend unless something else changes.
Yeah. Barring additional positive tests or contact tracing issues from the Avs side.
Yep. Things should go on as normal.
They should play. Yeah.
But, excuse me, it's still a tough spot in general for the league right now, because the Avs were one of the teams that had been kind of dancing through their schedule without much impact of it. That, and I guess the Canadian division had been doing quite well. But now it's affecting everyone. Look, we saw this happen in football. We saw this happen in baseball. It's just kind of part of the reality of a league where you're actually traveling around. So
it is, but at this point, like, I think this particular situation is, I mean, it's obviously dangerous, but like, they could be playing COVID tag at this point, because Minnesota comes in and a couple of players get it, and then they shut Minnesota down for a week, and then the Avs continue on like, oh, only one Av has it, so clearly not a problem here.
And and the same thing happens in St. Louis. And
right, they play one game, and then two people test positive on Saturday, after the game or whatever, and then they play Sunday and 2 more people test positive, and then they shut the Avs down, and then St. Louis continues on playing somebody else, and it's just like, how are you guys using this 24-hour test thing?
Yeah.
Why are you guys not using the rapid tests?
Right.
It's to get these results quickly. Like, Marcus Foligno tests positive, and they're like, 3 games in 4 days.
Let's go. The crazy part to me is, like, they test positive, and you know what? Maybe everyone tested negative before game 2 in Minnesota, but how do you let that team fly? Knowing they had to have had immediate contact with Foligno.
Yeah. Well, and that and we saw Jonas Donskoi's wife posted on Instagram, like someone on the Wild tested positive. He's wandering around with a face shield.
Yeah. It definitely seems a little bit crazy to me. Like I guess I don't understand the requirements or what is necessary to qualify for COVID protocol as far as direct contact with someone who's tested positive.
Like, this is where I'm confused about things, because it just seems like, wouldn't the prudent thing to do just be shut the Avs down for the next couple of days?
Like, you've put Tyson Jost on the list. Like, even
just this weekend, just cancel their games through this weekend to make sure that everybody else is positive. And then the Avs can resume operations as normal next Monday.
Yeah.
Like if they're, because they're not going to like shut the whole league down.
Right.
Which at this point, I mean, the season is not even a month old, and I think it's 22 games that they've already postponed.
Yeah, it's going to continue to happen, and the NHL is going to push through it. Like, they're going to finish the season, I think, at pretty much almost any cost, barring catastrophic things happening.
I guess the question would be, like, what happens if they, like all of Dallas got it, right? Yeah. What happens if somebody there gets it again?
Yeah, then what?
Like you shutting a team down for the second time? I don't know, man. For me, it just seems like it seems like they're playing with real fire by having the Avs continue on this weekend for now. Right. And I guess they can always postpone it. They always still can. Like they have all of today and all of tomorrow for another positive test to come in, for them to get more information, whatever, and them decide, okay, hey, we're not going to mess with this weekend. But they're pushing up against it, man. Like, and Betty says she hopes that the outdoor game isn't at risk. Well, I would say right now it definitely is.
I mean, that's what
Vegas is still shut down.
What does the NHL do? Resumed? What does the NHL do if the Avs have 4 players on the COVID list and Vegas has like 6 players on the COVID list? Do they just force through a junk game with a bunch of nobodies? Just to have the outdoor game, or what?
Do we get to watch the Eagles versus the Silver Knights in Lake Tahoe? And have it count in the NHL standings?
Yikes. That's a yikes for me.
Back tomorrow? Okay, cool.
Even so, like, with the amount of time that Vegas has missed, especially, I mean, we'll see how things shake out. There may not even be an Olympics this year. But
I tweeted out that the Olympics were in danger or whatever yesterday. And somebody tweeted me and was like, they're happening no matter what. And so I went and dug up a bunch of different articles about it just to dig through the most recent information. And I'm confused because there are pieces out there where it's like they're not going to be able to make this happen, and then there's other ones where they're like they have
it's 100% happening.
Yeah, and I don't have any idea what's happening with the Olympics at this point. I went looking for more information and ended up more confused.
But in a world where the Olympics is happening, there's not going to be enough time to make up these games and get the playoffs in for the NHL before the Olympics starts.
Yeah. Well, they've rescheduled a lot of the games already. Yeah. I was looking at I think the NHL's media site had like a very helpful graphic of all the postponed games and when they've been rescheduled, and only the most recent ones, the Wild ones, have not been rescheduled yet. So they're definitely,
so credit on that side of things.
They've gotten most of them, at least they're scheduled. They obviously haven't happened yet, but they are scheduled. So we'll see. But, and to Elena's point, I don't understand how Tuesday's game got played either way. Yeah. Also, I I was blown away. And now I'm like, okay, should all of us get tested? Like the Nuggets game gets canceled the night before. Then the Avs and Wild game happens. And the six people end up getting put on COVID lists. 6 players end up getting put on COVID lists the day after.
Yeah.
And Thursday's game gets canceled, and it's like, I don't know that I'm happy that I was in that building.
And there's the extra sketchiness of Spurgeon getting pulled in the third period.
So supposedly that was injury related.
I know they called it an upper body injury, but
yeah. I guess your chest is upper body.
Yeah. Dude is struggling to breathe or something, and that's an upper body injury, and then you it's just not a good look.
They're supposed to be upfront with positive tests and stuff, but I will say it is my conspiracy brain is, I will just say, it is interesting. Jared Spurgeon and Nathan MacKinnon disappear after the second periods of those games.
I mean, the thing is, Spurgeon is on the COVID list now. MacKinnon is not.
Yeah, but I believe McKinnon's injury is an actual injury. You put those pieces together, and the next thing you know is I have the hockey version of QAnon building over here.
Oh, God. The DNVR Avalanche COVID conspiracy. Please don't start.
That's right. We're teams fake injuries and miss players anyway.
That is a
conspiracy,
topic,
guys.
Not conspiracy, but a thought that's been going around a lot. I do want to cover a little bit after this first break, as we are sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 rated sportsbook app out there. Head on over and get in on all the action for Super Bowl 55. They are giving away $55 million, $55 million for Super Bowl 55. Jump on that while you still can. All you have to do is head over there and make some predictions after signing up with code DNVR for a new account. And on top of that, they're giving you free money. You can bet for one touchdown to happen in the Super Bowl. Just a singular touchdown, and you get your money doubled. So if you want free money, head on over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Easiest thing in the world. You can get instant prizes of up to $25,000. One person will win $1 million for their predictions. Jacob, thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Very appreciated. We love the support. Love all y'all guys. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR to get a shot at doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in Sunday's game. Again, promo code DNVR. Have to use that when you sign up to get these promos, and it helps support us. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/prediction-challenge-DFS for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. We got to change that. .com. I can't do that every week.
We're going to need you guys to change your URL so Rudo can read it.
Second period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Let me preface this by saying you never want anyone to get COVID. Period.
Yeah, of course not.
Is there a world where it's better for the Avs season to get healthy and have games postponed right now?
I mean, I don't even like where this is headed. I
know, but everyone on my Twitter feed is talking about it.
Yes. Would it be best would it be beneficial for the Avs to cancel 2 games in a city that they never win anyway while they're going through turbo injury time and have them rescheduled to later in the year? Sure. Like, them not having to go to St. Louis would probably help them.
Yeah, I think it would as well.
But I mean, that's
right. You're getting
it does not play into my thinking of saying they should cancel this weekend's games.
Agreed.
That's entirely about stopping this little COVID tag that they have set
safety
up
is
perfectly.
priority number one for sure.
Yeah.
Everything else doesn't matter, period. But it's sure is interesting timing in that regard if they were to cancel the games, where if they only cancel St. Louis, it might not actually help the Avs that much. I mean, it doesn't hurt them as far as giving more time, but
Cassie is correct. It is dual purpose. It slows the spread and kind of stops it here, while also gives them recovery time. It would be beneficial on both fronts, but that's like beneficial to the Avs in the injury front is just like it happened to be a good fortune thing.
Right.
Not hey, they should definitely do it for this reason. The only reason that they should consider moving games is because of COVID.
Yeah. Definitely. And
there's good enough reason, there's good enough evidence here to say just stop it before it gets worse.
Yep. It's why take the risk, I guess, is the way to put it. But with the Avs injury situation officially today or last night, or who the hell knows when the Avs backdated it to, but Pavel Francouz on LTIR, the first move for the Avs in that regard.
Transactions this year suck, dude.
Yeah, it's out of control.
It's whoever's running cap friendly has the worst job this season.
I tweeted that out the other night. The Avs did something whack when even cap friendly doesn't know what transactions they made. Like
what their exact roster is anymore. It's such a mess, dude.
So it's definitely been a ride.
On LTIR, $2 million in salary, so not exactly an abundance of cap relief there.
Nope.
But I guess it's enough.
It allows you to play Patterin, I guess.
If it's going to be much longer and they can't win any games with Hunter Miska in net, they really need to
give Adam Werner a go.
Not even that, man. They really need to look around.
Yeah, just find a legitimate backup.
Yeah, they really need to look around.
That's sure. I mean, you're probably right.
And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about calling up Toronto
about
being like Michael Hutchinson.
He's talking about a legitimate backup in the NHL.
I'm like, if this is going to be a long-term thing, we need to.
All right,
the Avs need to take a look at.
There is a universe of goaltenders between Michael Hutchinson and John Gibson and Darcy Kemper. Yeah. Our chat has two teams out here.
There are a lot of goaltenders in between those two. Yeah.
Werner is not the current backup. Werner's call-up and subsequent send-down was part of the Avs cap level meme tier, whatever moves those were.
Whatever you want to call whatever they're up to at this point. I don't even know how to explain it anymore. When people are like, oh, why are they doing this? And it's like,
that's when you just type cap reasons and let it lie. Like
it's all about the cap, but okay.
So the short answer is nobody knows, and the Avs might not even know exactly what they're doing. They're just trying to stay cap compliant.
I'm sure that they've got like somebody in that front office that is like an expert on this.
Furiously doing calculations.
And it's like they're just figuring it out as they go.
Yeah. It's definitely not an enviable position. Wow, I can't talk today. The Avs overall, though, are in a weird spot with the injuries, mostly because we still don't actually know what's wrong with Francouz or McKinnon for that matter. Yeah, we know their lower body, but we still don't know the exact details of any of the injuries, really. And
I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I keep telling people I'm okay if I never find out what a player's injury is again for the rest of my life. I'll be okay with that. Just give me an accurate timeline of return.
And that's everyone has been promoted from day to day to week this week.
Yeah.
And
I really don't think I think the Taves thing is interesting because I think that
there have been a lot of mixed signals about this Taves injury.
Well, I think that when they were like, we got information back and it was disappointing. I think that it was disappointing because they were thinking he was going to play in the Minnesota series.
Gotcha.
And then when it was like he's out for another week, it's like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, definitely not a positive for the Avs.
Yeah. So I think starting next week. I think it's Arizona after St. Louis.
That sounds correct. And then you have Vegas after that.
Yeah. Then they start all of the Vegas games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Arizona next Tuesday. I think that's when I would target his earliest return.
Yeah. You'll never fully know, but the expectation was 7 to 10 days for Taves.
So to answer this question that Zach is asking, because we've kind of danced around it, what backup goalie? Teams aren't moving their backups right now. They're at this point, there's only a handful of teams that probably think that they're out of the playoff race, and I don't know why you would want their goalies.
Because they bad?
Yeah, you're not calling Ottawa up, and you're like, how about them goaltenders? So I think that they have to just survive a little bit longer and continue to let the standings kind of shake out and find a team. It's got Matt Nieto as his picture. Find a team that is moving around. One that's actually willing to give a guy up. Gorgiev would actually be a great option.
Oh, I'm down.
Big problem there is that he's signed for 2 years. And it's they just need a guy for right now. And it has not been very good this year.
I think the reality is the Avs kind of made their bed here to a certain extent, right?
Yep.
So
they certainly did. Yeah.
Kale, can you time out Lazy Randy for me? Just because I promised I would do this. You got what you wanted, Randy. Anyway.
Yeah, Miska's not hurt. It's just that through 2 games, they've lost them both. And he was okay in the LA game, and he was not good in the other one.
Yeah.
He was not good in that Minnesota game. They probably win that second Minnesota game if they have.
I think there's a decent chance they win both if it's Francouz in there, even. But the reality of the Avs' goaltending situation at this point is they roll the dice with Miska, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, and again, we're talking it hasn't worked through 2 games. But the Hunter Miska is also he's not a proven guy that you're like.
And look, super small sample size, yes, but based on those 2 games, no one is looking forward to playing Hunter Miska again. That's a situation that you're actively trying to avoid at this point.
Yeah.
And it's one that you can't avoid based on a season full of back-to-backs.
Yeah, and we're the Avs made their bed here, but this is also a comical bad luck.
It obviously.
Francouz was totally fine, and then they go to, he has surgery, he's totally healthy, he goes through camp, he practices the day that they leave for California, gets hurt during that practice randomly, and that's it. They never get a game out of him. I'm sorry, but that's That's comical bad luck.
It is terrible bad luck, but how different are you feeling right now if the Avs went out and got a third goaltender on waivers with a bit more experience than Hunter Miska? Are you not? Maybe you're not as worried about finding a new goaltender.
Yeah, you're probably not. You're probably fine with your insert whichever guy they claim on waivers.
Yeah, pick one.
Yes. P.S. They might have put a claim in on Aaron Dell, but they were not going to.
It wasn't gonna ever get to him.
Yeah, they didn't come close. He didn't come close to getting to them in the
order.
The
yeah, for sure. But pick a guy that they could have gotten as a third goaltender.
Okay, so the NHL literally just sent out an email that says that they are adopting additional COVID-19 preventative measures.
Starting now?
Yeah.
You would have to think this St. Louis series should be canceled then. AJ's reading live on
stream. I'm trying to get the gist of this. So the big things, they are the removal of shielding behind the bench to allow for more airflow and easily move away from the benches where players and coaches are in close proximity to blah, blah, blah. And I just fell asleep.
Yeah, that's okay.
The shielding has been removed. Cool.
There's nothing behind the benches anymore. Okay,
whatever. The limitation of time at the actual arena.
So that you show up for morning skate and have to leave immediately or whatever, basically.
Yeah. No more than 1 hour and 45 minutes before puck drop, except to receive any necessary treatments. All meetings are now on game days, and non-game days. All meetings are to be conducted virtually. So video sessions no longer in person.
Okay, so
physical distancing in team spaces. So they're creating additional locker room space for the home and visiting teams, such that physical distancing of at least 6 feet between players at each of their stalls is accomplished. So you're going to do that and have a taxi squad?
Yeah, there's
so
no
you
way.
Basically need the Broncos locker room?
The locker rooms at Ball Arena are definitely not big enough to do that.
Yeah. What?
So essentially they've done a bunch of stuff that arguably they already should have been doing and probably won't make that much impact, to be honest.
Look, Cassie, they can swap water bottles all they want, but now that the shielding is gone behind the benches to allow for better airflow, they're fine. They have protected the players.
They're going to make half the players on the bench face away from the ice and breathe that way?
Also, the last note here is air filtration and air cleaning, as the league is considering adoption of a requirement for clubs and arenas to deploy portable air cleaners with HEPA, H-E-P-A,
filters
behind the player bench areas in order to improve indoor air quality and mitigate airborne viral transmission.
This seems like a whole lot of stuff, but they're still going to let teams play games.
Just cancel the game.
Yeah, what is happening here? This is crazy.
This is what happens when you are prioritizing not losing as much money as possible.
Yep. Definitely the almighty dollar.
These are like somebody has spent the last 3 days in the league offices sitting around a conference table trying to come up with these ideas so that they can be like, we have taken additional steps to make this better.
Besides, ones that could actually make a difference.
Right. Whatever. Like
Jonathan,
look,
McCarr doesn't need any help creating that 6 feet of social distance. He's got that.
They're in an impossible position here. Like, let's be real.
I get it.
Them trying to play the season at all, they're in an impossible position. They're going to lose a ton of money no matter what. I don't know what. I don't know, man. At some point, you kind of shrug and just go, well, this didn't work.
Yep.
It's not working. Even in that email that they just sent out, they said, Oh, despite the presence of more than 100 players on the COVID list. P.S. Your league has 700 players in it.
Not great.
You're telling me that you're just going to shrug off a seventh of your league being on the COVID list through the first not even full month of the season. I don't know.
It's a tough spot too, because we've seen baseball finish their season despite the COVID issues. Football is finished their season with the Super Bowl coming up despite the COVID issues. Basketball is riding right along. They've postponed some games, but they're going to finish their season.
Well, basketball is the most aggressive of all of them. They were like, we're playing 72 games.
Yeah, they tried to play dang near a full season.
Yeah. And like the NFL did play a full season, but
that's 16 games.
Also, yeah, they play once a week, and did they do some unbelievable tap dancing in the name of the almighty dollar. As
they watched Kendall Hinton play quarterback.
Exactly. They kicked all competitiveness to the curb on multiple occasions just to say that hey. For the record, I went to the grocery store for the first time in almost a year to try and find that.
Did you find
Crunch.
any?
It was not at my King Super.
Killing me.
I'm assuming that picture of Daters that he took, where he's got like the full car. He must have been leaving my King Supers.
Taking them all.
Of them. He was that asshole that just dropped in and was like, I'm buying all these. And now he's giving them away at a watch party. Like, okay.
Well,
you're a genius.
We can take our second period break on that note.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that dude drove an hour from his house to mine to take all of them. I'm blaming him.
Throw this into the conspiracy pile with the rest of today's show.
Yeah.
StravaCraftCoffee.com. Head on over there. Use code DNVR20 to get 20% off your purchase. The CBD-infused coffee has been known to really help with different aches and pains, migraines, IBS, joint pain, a bunch of other stuff as well. So give it a try today. We might have cold brew at the DNVR bar. I forget. It comes and goes. We might be restocking it right now. So if we do have it, get down there and get it when you can.
I believe we do have it at the bar right now.
All right. So Kale says we have it. So get there and get it before we sell out again. You can also get their subscription service online. Get 20% off every single time you buy for 2, 3, 4, 6, or 8 weeks. Again, use that DNVR20 code to let them know we sent you. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche Podcast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. AJ, let's look at some news around the league here a little bit. First of all, Avs-related news. Pittsburgh, have they interviewed Chris McFarland yet? Or they've been cleared to interview him at very least. So,
big problem for Colorado, or it became a bigger problem when Chris Drury opted out of the search.
Yeah.
Because Chris Drury has been
hounded after.
Yeah, like a couple years ago when I was telling people that Rob Blake was on his way to a GM job somewhere. I didn't necessarily know it was going to be in LA. The same is true for Chris Drury. He's worked in that front office for a long time now, and he's done a lot of things for that organization, for the Rangers, and he is really well respected around the league. So I think he's in line for a GM job, and he can. The thing with Drury is that he's so comfortable with the Rangers that he's happy to just chill and wait for the right opportunity. And I think it says a lot about where people view the Pens situation right now.
It's not good, Bob.
He doesn't want to go in there and like inherit the twilight years of Crosby Malkin
with a bunch of defensemen signed for eternity.
Well, it's like their farm system is so
empty.
Weak.
Yep.
And as good as their development system has been, where they have just churned out decent NHL players from nothing, I think it's very telling that one of the hot names on the market was like, Oh, you still have Sidney Crosby for the night, through the rest of his career. Balkan is still there. Jake Gensel is there. Like there's some talent that's still in town. And he was like,
they're drifting into kind of that same situation that Detroit was in 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
Where the cup era is over. You're still good enough to make the playoffs, but you're not really competing.
Right.
And
you're sort of stuck in this like playing out the string of an all-time great.
You can't fully tank because Crosby's on your team.
Yeah.
Like
you owe it to that guy to continue to go for it. Everything he's done for your organization, you owe it to him to keep going.
Yep.
Either that or you make the even more painful decision of just
cutting bait. Yeah, and that
You don't want that. You don't want Sidney Crosby putting on an Avalanche sweater.
No. He should be a Penguin for life, for sure.
You don't want to see that nonsense. You want him in Pittsburgh forever.
Yep. I agree. I think he should be a Penguin forever, but well, you just kind of have to take it how it comes, and Pittsburgh's got to select somebody. Will it be McFarland? Who knows?
Yeah, he'll be involved in the search, and if he doesn't get this one, I tell you that's
coming eventually. Yeah,
that's 3 jobs: Minnesota, New Jersey, and then Pittsburgh that he will have been involved in but hasn't gotten. And somebody's going to say yes because his work since he got to Colorado has been way too good.
Yep.
And if you look at Columbus, his work at the end of his time in CBJ,
solid.
He was a big reason that they finally took that step from
the team who couldn't win a playoff game.
Right. It's Rick Nash and who exactly to being
collecting pieces
a lot more competitive. So he's important.
I agree. Speaking of a lot more competitive, AJ, are the Montreal Canadiens for real, or is the Canadian division just a joke?
Look, can both be true.
Yes, absolutely.
I've watched a lot of those games just because I try and make Winnipeg a point of viewing for obvious reasons. That division, I had no feel for that division when we were picking it. The only thing that I felt strongly about was Montreal is going to surprise. I picked them to win that division, and so what they're doing right now, I feel good about it. I was a year early on Ottawa. That was too bold. Whoops.
Can't win them all.
Bad call. I think what's really surprised me is how bad Vancouver has been.
They have been. Their defense is gross, man.
Like, I fully expected Vancouver to take a step back this year because it just felt like everything kind of worked for them last year. Pettersson had this MVP season. Miller was a point per game. Markstrom had a great year in net. Quinn Hughes had an amazing rookie season. Like, everything just kind of came together and worked really well for them. There was not a lot of adversity along the way. And now I think is like, oh.
Yeah, it's
right. This roster has a bunch of holes.
It's got problems, to say the least.
Yeah. And I'm not totally surprised by Vancouver. I've been really surprised at how bad Pettersson has been. He
don't hear anyone calling him for the heart anymore.
Dude, just a huge letdown so far this year. And like, that's a guy that things have been kind of easy for him in the first part of his NHL career, where he's really just come in and produced, and then the second the pressure got ratcheted up, he started to struggle at the start of this season, where expectations were actually on him. And I thought, that's interesting. We'll see how he responds to that. It's taken Johnny Gaudreau 2 years, but he looks like he's back. He looks awesome.
It's too bad the rest of that team kind of sucks, but
yeah, I mean, Markstrom has lived up to, right now. Markstrom has lived up to it. I played goaltender one time when I was playing, And it was because neither one of our goalies showed up, and they were like, who's going to do it? And I was always just like, that guy was like, F this. I want to play, so I'll do it. It did not go well.
The same thing happened to me when I played, where like I had never played goalie a second in my life, and neither of our goalies were there, and I had to show up, and it similarly went disastrously.
I gave up 11 goals, so... Yeah.
Wow. I think I gave up like 6.
Look,
don't get me wrong. We lost handedly, but
I made a string of like 4 saves in a row, and I was like, "This is easy. This is going to be fun." And then it stopped being easy. It did not go well. So, no. See, the thing that Hunter Miska is going to be significantly better than me at is stopping the first shot. So.
Oh, so is Johnny Gaudreau back though, or again?
I think so, dude.
Is it just the Canadian division being not able to play defense?
It's actually true that there's almost no defense being played in that division. Like, you look at Montreal's defense, and you're like, that's the best defense in the division.
Yep. The Edmonton Ottawa game had 8 goals in the first period the other night. Game ended up 8-5. Like,
I love the Oilers because
they go one direction.
No,
really
I love the Oilers, and I love their fans because they are so into it. And like, I was watching the other day after McDavid and Dry just torched that game, and their fans were like, "Where's Nathan McKinnon now?" And I was like, "You guys are 5th place in a 17 division, and you guys are out here on the internet stunting like you did something." Like, you know where Nathan McKinnon is he's not worried at all about you. Like, that guy's still chasing first place. I don't understand. I love Edmonton fans because they just act fool, man. Like, they're like, look at our guys go. And it's like, yeah, look at your guys. You guys are in fucking 5th place. What are you talking about? Like, you're not even in a postseason spot right now in a 17 division. All you have to do is finish 4th or higher. And you're not there. Like, you're not there.
Meanwhile, we're having the conversation of, do the Avs have the best defense in the league?
Yeah, I just love that Edmonton fans are like, we haven't been good in forever. Just damn winning.
Let us have these 2 hockey players.
We'll take home all these individual trophies. It's fine. If we ever get good with these guys, you guys watch out. But until then, we'll just keep you guys from winning the big trophies. Okay.
Just post any statistic right now except for total points and Cale Makar is beating Quinn Hughes. Like, I don't even need to hear that conversation anymore. That one is so dead. It's not even funny.
That thing is buried. I tweeted the head-to-head thing out.
Yep.
What I wanted to do was tweet out the head-to-heads of Quinn Hughes against both Byram and Gerard as well.
Oh.
And I wanted to turn it into a thing because both of theirs looked better than Hughes except for the points. and I was just like, do I really want the smoke? Do I really want...
You want to wake up 200 notifications tomorrow?
Like, do I want professional Todd Bertuzzi defenders all day? And I was like, no, it's true. I didn't want it. I didn't want the smoke. I just did not want people that think Todd Bertuzzi did nothing wrong in my mentions. I'm sorry. I just didn't.
Does anybody want that?
No.
I sure hope not.
The whole sumo wrestler thing, I've never understood. Those goalies have to be able to skate.
Yeah, that just doesn't work. All right, NHL players are capable of shooting to the parts of the net where the goalie isn't. So you have to have some sort of
NHL players.
Yeah, top line NHL players. How about that? Enough NHL players will score on a goaltender that isn't particularly athletic. Anyway, moving on from that conversation. AJ, who's the best team in the league right now? Who you got? Tampa Bay still?
Vegas.
Vegas? Even with all the games they missed?
No, honestly, I think it's Tampa Bay. I'm trying to figure out how I feel about Philadelphia.
After that blown lead the other night, it doesn't feel great. They found a
yeah,
way to lose that game to Boston.
I thought Boston was like prime for a step back.
Nope.
And they just look so good.
Keep on trucking.
And I'm like, all right.
Pasternak trying to score 50 goals in like 43 games.
Yeah, we talked about how Gretzky's 50 and 37 was unbreakable.
39, I think.
Yeah, and Pasta's like, is it?
I got 5 and 3, boys. Let's go.
Yeah. Tampa Bay just looks so good. They're built so well, man. The top to bottom, they don't have any problems.
No arguments. I think Tampa is still the team to beat despite the moves they had to make in the offseason. They continue.
I don't know how long Cassie's been listening to our show, but I am a perpetual Flyers believer.
That's true.
So I am always believing in Philly when other people are not. So I'm just that's just a thing. It's a feature of our show.
Get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean Tampa Bay has top 5 players at center, wing, defense, and goaltender. So
not bad. We're talking Point here, not Stamkos for center, correct?
Yeah, and then I put Stamkos as the top 5 wing.
Is Kuch a top 5 wing still?
Yes.
So there you go. That team is ridiculously stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're out of topics for the day other than.
Yeah, I mean, we could just sit here and bullshit about the league. Like, I
feel like we should just like have a live stream of that while we're rating tonight. But
oh man, I don't know how well that's gonna go. I'm rusty. I really haven't played much.
We're gonna wipe a lot tonight. We're like one boss away from progress. So
I'm cool. How are we feeling about this division, the West, though? Like, yeah, I know we've kind of talked a lot about the league, but the West, the separation that we thought has already started. Like through 11 games, the top 3 teams that we thought were the top 3 have been, Vegas, Colorado, and St. Louis have been those teams. And then Minnesota's the 4th team right now, but Anaheim, in the same number of games played, Anaheim is only 2 points back.
Having just watched Minnesota play 3 straight games, they're a total mirage, dude. That team is Kirill Kaprizov, and everyone else is bad on that hockey team.
Well, and like, I feel like it's Kaprizov and Kevin Fiala and like Brodin, Dumba, Suter, Spurgeon. Really, really good defense. But if Dumba's out for any period of time, and if Spurgeon's actually hurt, they're in serious trouble.
Yeah. Parise did not look good against the Avs at all. He had that one nice pass for an assist.
Dude.
The guy who usually murders the Avs.
I have really enjoyed Zach Parise's career, but he might be washed at this point.
Yikes.
He just looks like he looks like a really highly paid grinder right now. No
argument. He was not good. Player, man. He was not good.
There's no flash anymore.
Yeah, I guess we still haven't seen Arizona against the Avs, so that'll be an interesting series to see kind of where they sit. But
yeah, and I think any loss to them is going to bring out the worst of the Avs fan base.
Peep's going to get mad on that one for sure.
Yeah, and they should handle Arizona even without Nathan McKinnon. They're just the one thing is that their goal prevention is still good.
Yep.
You look at it, the only team that has not, and I'm not counting Vegas in this, the only team that's given up.
Yeah, outside of the teams that have been postponed games.
Yeah. They've 26 goals in 9 games. The Avs have given up 24 and 11. We haven't really talked about it, but their goal suppression's been so good.
There's a reason we've called them the best defense in the league, and then Grubauer's been lights out behind him when he's playing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, 6 of the next 8 are St. Louis and Vegas.
Yeah.
So
the tough teams be coming.
they're all gonna get their chance at Colorado while the Avs are the wounded duck. I think it's going to be real interesting to see how it goes.
They might be mostly healthy by the Vegas series, maybe.
It's like if they get McKinnon and Taves back, I think
They're fine. Yeah,
we don't worry about. We don't have the injury conversation
for sure. But
like, no offense to Belmar and Calvert, I'm not going to be like, oh wow.
Fourth liners are fourth liners.
Yeah, like if Vegas was missing Will Carrier, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, well we were missing Will Carrier. Oh, okay.
You say that now, and then Logan O'Connor scores a hat trick on them. But
yeah, I mean, I guess that's the one thing is there's no Belmar to have a 3-point night.
Yeah, can't just pop off on his old team. But
yeah,
anyway,
I'm looking forward to it, man. Like this next month, assuming that the games get played.
Yeah.
This next month is going to be really, really, really fascinating stuff. March is just going to be like a sprint of games. Yeah. The Avs play 16 games in 31 days, and it's like just a dead sprint, right?
The only good thing about March is they barely have to travel.
Yeah, they play 12 of those 16 at home.
Oh, yeah. So they have 2 trips, one to San Jose at the start and one to Arizona in the middle. And the Arizona trip is a back-to-back. So they spend like 5 days not at home in that whole month. Pretty easy travel, but they're going to be gassed as well. Going into that 3-day break they get in the middle of March, I would not want to see the Avs legs in that LA game. It's going to be gross.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so February actually has some built-in, like, this is a unexpected break for them, right? Yep. But February already had several breaks built in. They had two breaks of 2 days off and a 3-day break.
Yep.
Now they have another, with this, with the canceled game tonight, they have an additional 3-day break. This is about to ramp up, and it's just such a crazy degree.
Yeah.
You and I are going to be in
March, going to be crazy town for sure. Yeah.
Like, there's going to be some legit, like, we need days off.
Then it eases up
rotate again. Like, Arcade's going to be on the pod one of these days because it's like we just
time to teach Evan how to host the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we've spiraled off into the distance here, we can go ahead and close up on today's show. Yeah, I'm always down for it, but we gotta end the show eventually. So go on over to HassleCattleCompany.com to get your meats from one of the best Wagyus in the States, probably in the world. I don't actually know for sure. I imagine Japanese Wagyu is probably insanely good, but I've never had the opportunity to have it. But if you want the blue-collar Wagyu from Hassle Cattle Company, you can get 10% off when you use code DNVR10 to purchase. And if you spend over $200, you get free shipping on their meat as well. They have a bunch of different kinds of Wagyu, whether it be their burgers, they have their ribeyes, they have their sausages as well. Check them out. Look up all their products. They have something for everybody. All of it's amazing meat. Melt in your mouth. Just the best stuff out there. Cannot recommend it enough. That's HASSELL cattlecompany.com. Order with the DNVR 10 code today. Thank you, everyone, watching, listening, all of that. Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps us out a ton. We go live with this podcast at least 5 days a week, sometimes more, like in March when the Avs play every day. But you can catch us here all the time. We appreciate y'all, and we will catch you guys. Tomorrow's Free Skate Friday, right? Yeah. So fun Free Skate Friday.
Is it already Friday?
Yeah, I know, right?
Thursday? Are you serious?
Yep.
So the one thing about them playing every other day is I never know what day of the week it is.
Time is irrelevant now, but
yeah.
Appreciate y'all.